System Shock Remake is a first-person immersive civ developed by Night Dive Studios, released in 2023. I never played the original 1994 version. I'm aware of how influential it was, and I'm a big fan of the games that it has inspired, like Bioshock, Prey and Deus Ex. So I was very eager to see if it lives up to the hype, or find out if it's become outdated. So let's find out, shall we? You play as a hacker waking up on Citadel Station just outside of Saturn's orbit, where you quickly learn a rogue AI named Shodan, all capital letters, has taken control and wants to use the station's laser to destroy all of Earth's major cities to establish herself as a god. Obviously your goal is to stop her plans and get off the station. Well, that's the setup, and I'll go into a bit more detail. Don't worry, there won't be any major spoilers ahead. The opening cutscene sets up the mood and atmosphere well. It starts in a clearly Blade Runner inspired city where our hacker is caught trying to access files about Citadel Station owned by the Trioptium Corporation. The hacker is then taken to the station and brought to Edward Diego, a Trioptium higher up. He offers to drop all charges and throws in a military-grade neural implant if the hacker agrees to remove Shodan's ethical constraint, who is in control of the station, and give control to Diego, who wants to smuggle off an experimental virus and sell it on the black market. With little choice left, the hacker agrees, and after doing what Diego asks, he has the surgery done and is put in a 6-month coma to heal. This is where you wake and find the station's gone to shit. Shodan is in control of the station. She has all the robots set to hostile, and she's turned some of the crew into cyborgs, and some of them have even been mutated into zombie-like creatures. It's not looking good for our hacker, who is kind of responsible for all this. He is contacted by Rebecca Lansing, a counter-terrorism consultant for Trioptium, who informs the hacker that Shodan is planning to laser the shit out of the Earth and says she will get rid of the evidence of the hacker's deal with Diego if he stops Shodan. With no other choice, the hacker agrees, and this is where the game really kicks off. It's obviously not as easy as flipping a switch, and Shodan has a few backup plans up her sleeve, but that's up to you to figure out. I really enjoy the story. It's very similar to Bioshock and Dead Space in a way. Silent protagonist is in a hostile environment and has to fight and figure his way out of there. The vast majority of storytelling is done through audio and text logs, or someone calling you over the radio. It's a great way of world building and creating intrigue. It's fun finding out what happened on the station over the past 6 months. You'll find logs of the crew's initial reaction to Shodan taking over, and what their plans were to try and stop her. You'll often find these logs next to dead bodies, which is nice environmental storytelling, especially when the logs depict how they die and you can see the aftermath in person. Logs can also contain important information like door codes or how to progress through areas. This is cool as it makes finding them benefit both story and gameplay. My only issue with them is if you miss them when you search an area, you're basically fucked. They do stand out in areas but not all the time. They aren't super bright and they're not locked in place. At one point during the fight I must have killed an enemy and their body fell and covered the log, which meant I missed it, so I was stuck for a bit until I looked it up. It was pretty annoying. Also, you can't just look up door codes, they're randomised in each playthrough, which is great. It means you can't just cheat your way through the game. You're gonna have to actually pay attention. But super annoying if you missed a logged or a key card and you have no idea where to find it, making you backtrack unnecessarily. And the enemies can spawn when you're backtracking, wasting more of your resources. Well, I got a bit off track there. I'm supposed to be talking about the story. It's quite a serious game. I felt very isolated, outnumbered, and was dreading what could be behind every door. There's no comic relief. You won't meet anyone on the station who is alive and friendly. This really helps heighten the horror, and I really did feel alone on the station. It's very 90s cool, very cyberpunky. One hacker against a corporation, which I'm all for. If they made a film of this, you just know the main guy would be wearing a trench coat. Shodan is a great villain, even though you only ever see her face on screens. She thinks that she is a god and all human life is beneath her. She'll often talk to you over the radio to intimidate you or tell you what you're doing is pointless. She has a lot of cool lines like, "Look at you, hacker, a pathetic creature of meat and bone, panting and sweating as you run through my corridors. How can you challenge a perfect, immortal machine?" I probably should have just shown you the clip. The voice actor does an incredible job with her lines. The further into the story you get, the more unhinged she becomes, and more choppy her voice lines get, showing she's losing control. She's always one step ahead of you and even lays traps for you sometimes. Like at one part, you set an explosive to go off in 10 seconds. Once you set it, she locks the door and laughs at you, forcing you to think fast. If you get a game over, there is a cutscene of her turning you into one of her cyborgs, very similar to the game over in the original Fallout, which I liked. I didn't like seeing it all the time because I died a lot, but there you go. I rather enjoyed the art direction. It's got a retro futuristic design like an Alien. It's clearly set in the future, but computers are still that old school green and still use buttons and knobs to operate. You can even change the colour of your HUD to one that matches the Cyberpunk 2077 HUD, which is neat. Textures can get pixely when you zoom in on them, which I think is a nice throwback to the original. I'm not going to go in depth on how the graphics have improved over the original because I haven't played it, but you can tell just how much work went into this remake just by looking at a few clips of the original. They have given walls depth as they used to be flat, and they added some stuff to areas to make them feel more immersive, like they added railings to places or they put chairs in a waiting room, little things, but they really help the station feel like an actual place. The station is split up into different floors, each feel and look different to each other. Maintenance has orange walls and is shaped like a square, security is more vertical than the others, and executive has these lovely wooden walls that make the place feel fancy. Remind me of the new Prey game. The level layouts are very complex, almost maze-like. It can be both rewarding and confusing to get around. The map can be helpful, it starts off blank and gets filled out as you explore, which is good. I wish the map was more helpful though. It's a flat 2D map, it doesn't show you if something is above or below you, or on your level. I feel like a 3D map could have worked better. The map also doesn't show you important things on it, like it will show you a door hasn't been opened with a yellow line, but it doesn't show you why it's closed. I would have liked maybe for different colour lines for different things, like if it needs an orange key card, have an orange line. The way it is now, you're going to have a good memory or backtrack a lot. For example, you need a level 2 hazard suit in maintenance. It's behind a door that requires you to lower the security level below 45%. I completely forgot about this room till way later into the game, so I had to deal with all these poisoned rooms about the suit, which is cool that you can do that, which is what the immersive civ genre is all about. But it wasn't because I chose not to use the suit, it's because I forgot about what room it was in. I would like some icons for maybe logs I've missed on the map or names of rooms on there. Maybe it was like this in the original and they try and stay faithful, which is fine, but I would have liked an option for a little more help on the map, or even the ability to place different markers on the map so I could differentiate between them, which would have been helpful. Enemies have their own designs which helps them stand out. Some are more robotic than others. I wish, this is going to sound weird, they were brighter. For me at least, I would get hit and not be able to see where the enemies were. They kind of blend into the background sometimes. Lots of them have these lights on them so they stand out, but so do the walls, mean I couldn't tell them apart from the environment until they shot me again. This wasn't an issue when they got closer to me though. Enemies look cartoony in my opinion, which I like. That's because they really tried to stick to how they looked in the original, which used 2D sprites similar to the original Doom. So transferring them into 3D models means they're not going to look super realistic, which I'm fine with. Same happened with Doom 2016. So how are they to fight? Combat is fine, if a little frustrating. The game is way harder than I thought it was going to be. I played on normal, I thought it was tough. I resorted to save scumming to get by. The game seems to think you're John Rambo, they just chuck so many enemies at you at once, which would be fine if you didn't die in like 3 hits and had room to carry lots of ammo. You can do this thing where your feet lock in place and you can move your body around corners like in Wolfenstein or Dishonored to shoot enemies without getting hit. But this normally got me killed because I would get hit. When I did this, I'd be locked in place leading to my death. So yeah, I didn't really use this function. You have to deal with your resources similar to Deus Ex or Resident Evil 4. You get a grid where you can put your items in, but you only have so much space and it's not a lot. I was constantly running out of space. You can find lots of weapons on the station, but I reckon I didn't use half of them because I had no room to carry them. I stuck to about 4 weapons because I could find ammo for them. I didn't want to risk carrying a large weapon with rare ammo. It just didn't seem worth it to me. I didn't have a lot of resources in the first half of the game, and in the second half I had too many, so I would say it wasn't very well balanced. There was a good variety of weapons from wrenches, pipes, energy swords, pistols, shotguns, which are very underpowered in my opinion, rifles, plasma guns and railguns. 3 different types of grenades, frag, EMP, and the most useless ones were these gas grenades. These don't work on robots and most of the enemies are robots, so yeah, it's not great. I mostly use the plasma weapons. These don't use ammo but energy, which can be recharged at stations. There are just enough of these around the map so I could recharge my guns a lot. Not all the time mind you, certain parts I had run out of energy and was forced to use my other guns. They also have different ammo types or ways of firing them by pressing Y, which is neat. It helps early guns still be useful later on. There is really cool dismemberment in this game as well. Enemies' heads will explode if you shoot them, and if you hit them with a plasma gun, they'll get vaporized, which is always fun to see. There's also no storage bot, which fucking sucked. I ended up finding a few boxes in maintenance and chucking my stuff in there, as it was in the middle of the station I would pass through there often. Items don't disappear when left on the ground, which is cool. It means you can always go back for stuff, but again, you're gonna have to remember where you dropped it. You're better off picking one place to drop off stuff. That being said, I also refused to use some of my resources because I might need them later on. So in typical fashion, I ended up with so many resources left. I had 13 medkits left. 13! Like, why do I do this to myself? A lot of enemies have annoying attacks, like way too many of them have some sort of explosive weapon. The normal cyborg enemies do this thing where they throw a mine at you whilst you're walking towards them and run away so they can shoot you with a laser whilst you're taking a mine to the face. There are also these suicide bombers who are just these tiny little robots that charge straight at you and explode, normally killing you in one hit. They also die in one hit, but fuck me are they annoying. You do get suit upgrades like a shield you can turn on to reduce damage, but this isn't a lot. It also drains energy when you use it. Also, the game does a poor job explaining this to you. You have to go into your inventory screen, move your cursor all the way to the left and activate it. It's probably better with a mouse than a controller. I didn't figure out you could do this till a little later in the game. When you get the upgrade, it tells you what it does, it just doesn't tell you how to activate it. I thought it would just work automatically. You can get other upgrades like ones that make you jump higher or move faster. These are on automatically and use energy, so like what the fuck? Puzzles are not explained to you either. You will need to solve junction boxes to open certain doors. There are 2 types of these, wire ones and pipe ones. Pipe ones are simple, you have to connect one red square to the other. Game doesn't tell you this, you open the box, it's just like go. There are these red circles on them which are just there to confuse me apparently. They don't do anything. When I first started I was trying to connect the circles together. Annoying, but I figured them out eventually. Wire puzzles however made me feel like a retard. They're easy once you know what you're doing. The issue was I was solving these without actually getting what I was doing. The game doesn't tell you. There will be a bar in the box with 2 lines on it to indicate how much power you need to get. You put plugs into the sockets, then the power runs down the wire, you have to turn some things to direct the power into the bar. Simple, I managed to film my way through these and got stuck on one and I had to look up what I was doing. I had all the plugs in and power go into the bar, but it wouldn't work. Turns out the plugs had different power outputs indicated by what colour is at their base. Green is full power, blue is half. I did not for at least half the game notice the green and blue lights. Like there is so many glowing lights all over the game, I didn't think these two were important. Once I had this info, boom, easy, never had trouble again. Like why couldn't the game just be like, hey, look at these lights when I did the first one? I feel like it has something to do with all the puzzles being randomised in each playthrough, meaning there's not like a tutorial one. The last bit of gameplay is cyberspace. This is where you use your hacking skills to open a door. This is done by you flying around shooting all enemies to progress until you find the glowy spiral you need to shoot to unlock the door. Pay attention when you destroy the spiral, it tells you what you've unlocked on the station. It's not always obvious when you leave cyberspace what you've actually accomplished. Cyberspace was a nice change of pace. You have infinite ammo and can fly around. There are a few different enemy types in here. Most are fine, but for some reason I found the green ones incredibly hard to hit. I got Geometry Wars vibes from it. System Shock has a really good sound design and music. The music helps enhance the tension whilst exploring. There are also some jazzy elevator music when you're in one, which really stands out from the rest of the game. Voice acting is great across the board, nobody felt out of place. Showdown was the obvious standout. Enemies sound creepy. There is also a nice detail I noticed where cyborgs will sometimes thank you when you kill them, really adding to the disturbing nature of the game. This game does not hold your hand. If you're not paying attention, you're going to be lost or stuck. The game just expects you to figure stuff out. Which I like, but I'm not going to lie and say I want a bit more hand holding. Just an objective screen telling me what I'm trying to do, or somewhere that tells me how much security is left on the floor. After I did the first big objective of stopping a laser, I was really chuffed with myself, and then there was nothing. I thought someone would have contacted me and been like, well done, here's your next objective. I was like, oh god, I have no idea what to do now. That was the objective. Turns out I just had to wait a little longer for someone to call me. Thank god. Like maybe get that person to call you sooner because I had a mini panic attack. This person calls you and was like, hey, go stop the virus on this floor. And I was like, cool, how the fuck do you get there? Turns out I have to go on an elevator I've been in before, but couldn't use until I sorted the laser out. But brother, do you think I remember where the fuck that was? This is what I mean, just maybe a bit of text that says, hey, go to this elevator on this floor would have been nice. There's also this one bit where you have to go through a poisoned area and it fucking sucked. You can get a suit to protect yourself, but not anywhere near completely, so you have to take a detox to reduce the poison damage further. But these only last a minute, so you'll either need a lot of detox or be quick. It wasn't fun for me. So overall, I enjoyed my time with System Shock. I get why it has its cult status. You can tell how many games this has influenced over the years. Showdown is a great villain. I get why she's always on top 10 best villains list. The game is way more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I had to rely on saving after every fight that went well, which is an ideal way of playing a game. I respect they wanted to stick to its roots and they have modernised a lot in this remake, but man, I think maybe I would have liked more hand-holding options, like mission markers. Like I get why Bioshock has a big glowing arrow at the top of the screen. Now System Shock could have probably done that in my opinion, just because the layout of the levels is so maze-like. I respect this game, I enjoyed most of my time with it, but I think it's one of those occasions where the genre has been improved so much by games that came after, which is fine. I'd still recommend this game to anyone who enjoyed games like Bioshock, Dead Space and Deus Ex, just maybe play on a lower difficulty. Time to rank it. I'm feeling number 6. System Shock has a great story, great luck, and good gameplay, very survival horror-y. Similar to Onimusha, which I really enjoyed, but it was a bit short and the story was underwhelming, so it's going to be above that. I don't think I could put it above Split Fiction, even though I want to. Split Fiction was fun from start to finish, it was never frustrating like System Shock. The story wasn't the best, but it worked. I think I just had more fun with that than System Shock, unfortunately. But it is really close. Hopefully System Shock 2 can make it higher on a list. Well, that's it. I'm going to go hack the planet now.